Doctor misdiagnosed me twice and injured me during unnecessary surgery. Now I have nerve damage and found out I'm not the first patient he's harmed. This is the most painful story of my life, the one I'm encouraged to write a book about, the one I am still in partial denial over, and the one that sent me to the ER over 50 times in 18 months. And it all started with an incorrect MRI interpretation gone far past the point of wrong. As a bit of a backstory, I started having severe, debilitating migraines in summer 2021 after my second round of COVID. By the time I first saw this doctor, I had already trialed and failed multiple treatments/medications. He ordered an MRI. It came back normal, but he diagnosed me with a rare condition called a CSF leak. I scheduled surgery, unaware that this wasn't true. I didn't have a leak. I only became worse after surgery. He actually admitted there wasn't a leak by that point, and my pain was repeatedly ignored and diminished, because I wasn't giving birth. The doctor ordered an angiogram. It was normal, but he diagnosed me again with intracranial hypertension, and prescribed blood thinners. I became so sick I couldn't get out of bed, eat, or even properly use the bathroom. I never knew pain like this even existed. In between all of this, I began to go to the ER. Before that, I had never experienced such rude and sexist comments in my life, how I was being dramatic, or how I was a drug seeker, etc. The female medical staff was much kinder to me than the male doctors. I would eventually learn the truth, that I had been misdiagnosed twice and severely injured as a result. I also learned I'm not the first this doctor has hurt. He knew he was misdiagnosing me and did it anyway. I know how crazy that probably sounds. I learned via medical records he never thought I would get a hold of, as he blatantly refused to let me read them. I haven't been the same since that surgery. It's like a part of my soul has died and I'm now morbid and bitter. I never had anything he diagnosed me with, and the blood thinners were slowly killing me. The point of this story is to advocate for yourself as a patient for anything you might be struggling with. It could save your life. I hope no one here ever has experienced something similar. Edit 1. I'm not diminishing childbirth. For heaven's sake, the doctors said this to me and that's why I included it. Please, to anyone who is offended by that part, please calm down. I know childbirth is awful. That's why I'm not having kids. Edit 2. I'm truly so grateful for the support y'all have given me. It means a lot. I will take some time to try to answer any questions and respond to comments/stories. Thank you all so effing much. You're wonderful. Update 1. First, I want to say thank you to each and every one of you who offered support, advice, and to those who have shared their stories and have experienced similar things or dealt with doctors minimizing your pain. I am truly, deeply sorry. This community is so amazing, and I couldn't be more appreciative of everyone here. I wanted to give an update on this because it's something that still weighs on me every single day. I have some positive news. I believe I have finally found the right attorney. She will not only help me, but she wants to look into having my former doctor's license revoked through the state medical board. I have heard more and more about how this doctor does this to other patients. I've even spoken to a few of them and feel so awful knowing they too have suffered at the hands of a man wanting to be like Dr. Death. For a bit of bittersweet news, I recently did a test and learned how bad the nerve damage is. I am looking at having nerve decompression surgery in the head/skull/brain to help alleviate symptoms. It's not too invasive, but it's a hard few weeks of recovery in a hospital and I have a lot of allergies to medications, but I'm hoping for the best. Thank you so much to everyone here, y'all are wonderful. Update 2. Most of the comments were very supportive, but I want to address some of the issues that were brought up. My story isn't fake. It never was fake. It never will be fake. I wish it was. This story was not fabricated due to my alleged hatred of men, as a few individuals commented. I don't hate men. I do hate some of their behaviors, but I would fully hope someone to call me out if I acted that way. It's a mutual feeling. I wouldn't expect someone to put up with me acting like an ass. One of the things that was brought up was my medical records and my diagnoses. I'll try to be as concise as possible. My medical records have damning information. 2 of my correct diagnoses are recorded on these records. However, the verbal diagnoses, and treatment plans via paper and verbally, were completely different. I was treated for issues I did not have. Yes, I do know that blood thinners do not treat intracranial hypertension. It's usually Diamox, but the blood thinners are what I was prescribed. In other words, my former doctor knew he was misdiagnosing me. He was fully aware. He is not stupid. He is likely a narcissist. I developed hemiplegia with migraines at the beginning of this year. I do not know why. And I may never know. The cluster headaches too, I do not know what caused them. There is ambiguity in some of this information because it is still ongoing. There is still more to be uncovered. I am heavily considering nerve decompression surgery, or even removal of the occipital nerves. I found stories of other patients, both men and women, as a few individuals assumed that I was only recounting stories from women, online, and even through Reddit. These stories will not be involved in my lawsuit. I found them to see if there was a pattern of negligence on my former doctor's part, and this proved to be correct. This doctor has harmed both men and women. I do not believe he was only harming women. Finally, onto the small update. The case is underway. It is very unlikely to go to trial. I have too much on him for any sort of major defense. I'm hopeful, but this entire thing is so emotional for me. It's hurtful to know people assume I am lying about my story, but it's Reddit. These people don't know me, and I'm not going to spend hours upon hours trying to convince strangers of my truth. They weren't there. Thank you to everyone who has offered kindness and support. I really appreciate it. I will update one final time when my case is settled. Until then, I'm just trying to heal psychologically and physically. Update 3, May 1st, 2025. Hi everyone. I just wanted to share this without it becoming a long wall of text. I was admitted to the hospital last night after what I believe to be a 7-day and counting migraine. It took me making a scene and probably coming off as a bit ridiculous to have anyone take me seriously enough. Usually when I visit the emergency room, I get strange looks and oftentimes hurtful comments. Maybe it's because migraines are invisible to most onlookers, but I digress. After what turned into a 24-hour-long visit with multiple doctors, imaging, rounds of Toradol infusions, and even lidocaine injections to the skull, I spoke with a migraine specialist. This is a first for me. Until today, I had never met someone who specializes in them. The discussion was long, but for the first time in what feels like years, I was heard. My former doctor caused a nerve disorder, something that is rare, and if left untreated, can become excruciating. I have scar tissue running along my occipital nerves, and am now going to undergo a specialized surgery that few doctors recommend, and even fewer perform. The healing time from the procedure is 3 years. I will be 27 years old by that time, having spent a total of 6 years trying to understand and identify what my former doctor truly caused. This post is not intended to paint me as a victim. It stands again as a cautionary note to anyone, especially women. If something seems wrong with a medical treatment plan put in place for you, always seek other opinions. Don't end up in the same position I am in. I will experience complications the rest of my life because I believe someone who deliberately hurts his patients for money and for control. Update 4, May 6, 2025. To everyone who sent kind messages throughout my storyline updates, and to everyone who commented advice, similar experiences, and words of encouragement alongside words of sorrow, thank you from the bottom of my heart. This community is truly wonderful and I am so grateful for everyone here. I didn't think I would be posting an update like this so soon. I wish I could say this update is positive, but unfortunately it isn't. I'll start off by confirming that everything I have said about this doctor is true. My story is true, backed up by 10+ inches of concrete, concise evidence. The other testimonies about him are true. The fact that others have been harmed by this doctor is horrifying. I cannot tell you all how many times I've broken down sobbing because someone else reached out to me with a story like mine. The attorney I believed was in the process of helping me. He lied to me too. I suspect he knows this doctor, and is perhaps friends with him. I believe this doctor is paying people off to avoid legal consequences. I have never been told I didn't have a case, but no one has been willing to initiate a lawsuit towards this single doctor. Other doctors face lawsuits that I can find through public records. Not this one. Not once have I found anything, other than review after review detailing the horrors this man has inflicted on others. It started in late 2020, with a woman who likely tried to sue and was denied justice. She was left with brain damage, and underwent specialized brain recovery treatments as a consequence of this man. The reviews are still stacking upon each other. Some are so frightening, I again start crying. My diagnosis is final, 3 years after the surgery that nearly killed me. I still have residual effects from the blood thinners I was lied to about in order to take. I have nightmares depicting this man chaining me to an operating table to finish the job he started. I cannot visit a doctor's office without a panic attack. I visited the ER over 70 times as a result of the damage. My veins are shot, unable to give blood without collapsing, stubborn during 4 treatments that burn when pushed into the line. I no longer fear needles, but the pokes are becoming more and more painful, scar tissue clouding the veins to protect them. There are days where all I do is ruminate and cry. The pain I will experience forever will serve as a reminder that I may never truly be free from the lies I was told, the 30+ medications I tried and failed, the weight gain I experienced from all the steroids and increased hunger. I will be taking a break from Reddit. I was approved for disability, and need time to reflect and to heal emotionally. The scars will always remain. This upcoming surgery scares me, but I have hope, even when I shouldn't. This doctor still practices, still harms. Justice is a thing rarely seen in today's world. But I am far from finished. I will not stop until this man is out of practice. My anger towards him is far too strong for me to give up. I will find a way to make it happen. For myself, and for everyone else he has harmed. I'm not done fighting. Thank you all for your help and support. Next story. Friend called me a gold digger to my daughter because she can't get her boyfriend to marry her, then admitted she's been trying to save me from being a som. I, 35F, and my husband, 36M, have a 5-year-old daughter. Recently she found our wedding album and has been absolutely obsessed with weddings and everything to do with them. She's been asking us a bunch of questions, for example why we got married. We've just been answering that we love each other a lot and thought it was right for us. Recently a friend of ours invited us to their 6th-year wedding anniversary party. The friend who was hosting the party and I are a part of a pretty large female friendship group that started in our law school days. All of us are either married with children, engaged or in a relationship of some sort. Mandy, 35F, is a part of this friendship group and is in a relationship with Baz, 38M. Mandy and Baz have been together for almost 8 years now. For the past 5 Mandy has been expressing to us that she really wants to get married but Baz is very avoidant about it. To the point that when it's brought up he just says it's just a piece of paper and I don't need the government's approval to love you. Despite us gently suggesting that he might be unserious about her and that if they have different views on marriage they shouldn't be together, she insists they are meant to be and that he'll come to his senses. At the party all of the couples and kids were invited and my daughter was over the moon about all the wedding stuff. Mandy eventually strikes up a conversation with my daughter about school and such. My kid notices Baz and Mandy together and asks if they are married, why they aren't married when they will get married in a very awkward when will you werewigs type manner. I was nearby and overheard the conversation and immediately tried to change the subject, apologized as I knew this was a touchy subject for Mandy. I made her apologize to Mandy for being nosy but then she kinda snaps back at my daughter saying well we aren't married because I truly love him and I'm not a gold digger lol. Some context: my husband is a very successful architect and his family comes from some wealth. My family is the opposite with me being a first-generation law student. I had opened up to Mandy in the past that I was worried to meet my husband's family in case they think I'm just with him for his money and got nervous about what people thought once they knew I didn't originally come from wealth. I love my husband, have a great relationship with his family and I'm very successful in my field as well, but I knew the comment was directed at me. She is the breadwinner in her relationship and has made snarky comments to me before about the size of my ring and how it looks too big and greedy and will opt for a different style when her and Baz get married. She has even implied that my husband is unattractive and made a comment that I only got pregnant early into the marriage because I wanted to seal that generational wealth down with a baby when I announced my pregnancy. Each time I kinda laughed it off and moved on, except for the last comment which I shut down hard and kinda scared her out of saying anything else until this party. Everyone else there also overheard the conversation and knew the context of that comment and the room just kinda went silent and awkward. It was the end of the party so we kinda just left and said goodbye to the host. That was about 2 days ago. Today she sent me a message saying people were texting her that what she said wasn't cool and that she should apologize. She gave a very half-assed apology and said that she probably wouldn't have said anything if I had just shut my kid up earlier. To that I responded to not ever shit talk my kid and that I wanted space from her and said that this broke the camel's back as it was said to my daughter. I told the other friends about the text and thankfully they backed me up and told her she was being a bitch. I think they were riding her so hard because a lot of the friend group were also first-generation students with equally successful partners. She sent a follow-up apology that was slightly more sincere and asked me to get people off her back. My husband is equally as mad but said to maybe cut her a little slack because she is in such a shit place in her relationship and is projecting out of fear. The comment really hurt my feelings but I knew she was in a tough place with Baz and probably could have controlled my daughter a little earlier. So Ida? Update 1, May 4th 2025. I originally wasn't going to update on the situation because I was honestly just going to ghost Mandy for a while and just forget about this whole thing. But I read some of the comments and decided to talk to my daughter. My husband and I sat her down and talked to her about how there are many different types of relationships because there are many different types of people. We told her some people want to get married, some don't, and that's okay, and how getting married isn't just about a wedding, it's a big commitment to another person. We also said that people can have long and happy relationship without getting married and that isn't something to look down on people on. We also said that it is ultimately her choice to decide if she ever wants to get married in the future and we would support her no matter what. We then explained that being curious and asking questions is a good thing but marriage and weddings can be very personal for a lot of people and if they don't want to talk about it, to respect that. She seemed to understand and still loves weddings and looks at my husband and I's wedding album often but had thankfully chilled out a lil. I was still a bit confused on what to do about Mandy as I had some mixed opinions in the comments. I did get a few that stuck with me asking why we are even friends if she doesn't like me. I didn't want to confront the issue again, but in the past few days I found out I'm pregnant with a second kid. After the initial joy with my husband surpassed a little, I got sad thinking about this drama and thinking about how I only wanted people around me who wholeheartedly supported me. I ended up sending a message to Mandy asking to meet up for a coffee. When I met her, I told her that we had been friends a long time, but her past comments about me hurt. I apologized for my daughter at the party, but that didn't make her comment okay. I also apologized if I ever came off to her as being judgmental or unapproving of her relationship with Baz, and that I only wanted her to be happy, and if she is, I completely support her. I then told her about the pregnancy and said that if she didn't like me, that was her prerogative, but I only wanted people around me that support me in this period of my life. She took it in and actually apologized for her comments and admitted that they were mean-spirited. She felt that because of her family she's always had pressure to live up to traditional family life, even though she didn't want to, and was happy with the way things were with Baz. I was happy we reached some sort of understanding, but things took a turn for the worst. She confessed that she purposely started saying mean comments to prevent me from falling into the stay-at-home mom trap. I was confused, and she clarified that 2 other women in the group have done the same after having children, and she predicted that I would go down the same route, so to protect me after I got engaged she started indirectly shaming me in hopes I wouldn't quit my job to take care of my kids. I have never once said I wanted to be a stay-at-home mother BTW. I told her that was fucking crazy, and that I never once said I wanted to stop working because I love my job. She said that was a good thing, but she thought I would because of how often I talk about my daughter and how in her eyes I crave the validation of my husband too much. I said that she was being mean and that I've treasured her friendship for a long time, but I need to think about if it was worth saving. I'm now in my car typing this, head spinning. I don't want to be her friend anymore, but I'm scared that other people might shame me into it because of the baby coming. What do I do? Update 2, May 11, 2025. Hello everyone. This is the last time I'm going to update on the situation because I've decided the stress isn't worth it. These last few days I've been making all the calls and visits to my close friends and family to announce the pregnancy, so pretty much everyone in my circle knows now. People have just been wanting to talk about the baby, so no one has asked about all the Mandy stuff, thankfully. I met up with one of my closest friends in the group recently. I told her what happened the last time I saw Mandy, and she was just as gobsmacked as I was. I told her I'm going to be taking some space from Mandy and this whole drama to focus on the pregnancy. Even though I didn't really want to hear about it, my friend gave me some new info on Mandy and Baz. Apparently they are going through it RN and close to breaking up. It's gotten bad enough that Baz has temporarily moved back in with his mother. According to my friend, Mandy decided to have a serious talk with Baz about marriage, and she told him that she was okay with never getting married. Baz then kinda freaked out and accused her of cheating because he thinks her not wanting to get married anymore means there has to be someone else and or she has lost interest, which is dumb. He apparently won't listen to reason, so they are taking some time apart. I feel sad for her, but it's not my focus anymore, and I hope Mandy just ends up happy. I'm thriving with my family, focusing on getting through these early pregnancy days and spending time with the people who support me. Thanks for all the advice.